a lot of people in the startup land hit me up and say, yo, I'm trying to hit these fucking PR agencies. Like, bro, PR agencies. People are paying 5, 10K a month on retainer, getting one over on a startup founders, tapping into a little budget that they have. And then they say, yo, it takes 6 months to work. Before you know, you spend 30 G's. They walk away with a bag. You walk away with a fucking article on Inc. that people pay for, by the way. Mm-hmm. And they told your story in their way. You want to tell your story in your way. So now we're going to dive into some content strategy frameworks. It's the 3 H's, fellas. It's hero, hub, and hygiene. Hero is emotionally resonant shit that makes you look like a fucking hero, pretty much. Like, I got this video. It's this 4-minute video on my homepage, and that shit is a tearjerker. You watch that shit for the first time, you will shed a single tear at least, right? It talks about my journeys, my struggles, my this and my that. That's that hero piece of content. And that was what in the 1950s, the advertisement model rested very heavily on your story beginning and ending in a single piece of content. So that's the hero video. There's room for that. However, the biggest shift that has happened in modern media, without a shadow of a doubt, is that now you don't have to start and finish your story in any single piece. You tell your story in micro moments over a prolonged period of time. And so those short form pieces is what we call hygiene, short, snackable little bits. I see you guys been getting into the TikTok game, right?
You noticed.
I noticed. But the granddaddy of all content production, right? For my practitioners out there that are listening and that they say, yo, it's just, I'm running my business is a little too hard to produce content at the same time. Then you must focus on hub. Key to make all content at scale, which is a continuous episodic form from which you can pull hygienes and clips for hero. And it's a lot like what you guys have done. Your main flagship show, Earn Your Leisure, episode 1, whatever it is now, 49, 51, 52, 57, 68, eventually 239, eventually 665.
Run it up.
And from there, you pull all the micros out. But this is the way that I would organize it. And this is the way that we do organize it. And this I actually learned from my good bro, Andy Kranak, who's going to be joining us in about 5-7 minutes. Andy Kranak taught me this shit. Andy Kranak in 2014, when I was running my incubator and I hit up him and D-Rock and all of Team GV's, like all his right-hand men, I was like, yo, can you guys pull up to my incubator in Harlem and just like run a content strategy session? They pulled up and they taught me this framework, and I have been using it from that day to current. It has changed my life completely. Shout out to the good brother, Gary V. But this is the way I think about it. All right. So hero, hub, and hygiene is the format, but I think what Team GV, what they did that made them very successful was that they reorganized it and they put hub at the top. Hub, and then macro content comes from there, and then short form comes from the bottom. So what do I mean? If you focus all of your energy on producing hub content, i.e., Earn Your Leisure episode 1, Market Mondays is 1, 2, 3, 4. If you over-index on one time a week, right, rather than having to think of something from scratch every time, you over-index on one time a week, going all in on your hub. And then from there, you're able to repurpose that hub into long form, into written content, and into a ton of snackable content that you can then disseminate across various social channels.
Yeah, this is. I want to say something real quick because that's actually something. That's what I actually did. So if anybody doesn't know the story by now, I'll tell it very briefly. Earn Your Leisure started 2 years ago, but 2 years before Earn Your Leisure started, I started my own personal campaign to grow my Instagram following. I went from 500 followers to 30,000 by the time we started Earn Your Leisure. I had 30,000 followers. So that's one of the reasons why Earn Your Leisure got off to such a good start, is because we didn't just start at 0. We started with me having 30,000, and it was a snowball effect. But how I got to 30,000 was I was going on anybody's show because, I was never good at like just putting a camera in front of my face and talking. I just felt very uncomfortable and felt it wasn't natural. So I would go on anybody that would have me on their show, public access shows, local radio shows. internet radio shows. It didn't really matter the audience. I didn't really care if there was one or a million people listening. Definitely wasn't a million people listening, but I was just going on those shows. I would have my cell phone and I would put the cell phone like on a prompt, and I would just tape myself like for 60 minutes or 50 minutes, however. And then I would go back and chop up clips from those interviews or those conversations. And then I would put those clips on Instagram. And it's crazy because I still repurpose those clips today on TikTok, and every now and then I'll repurpose that. So I've got so much traction out of those. It probably was like, let's say 20 interviews. But out of those 20 interviews, you got thousands and thousands of miles of traction on social media. And that was really the blueprint that actually built the house of Earn Your Leisure. So it's interesting that you say that, because that was the exact strategy that I used before. Because the people might say, well, I don't have a platform to get onto. I don't have a podcast, Like I said, it's not really about the platform. It's just, for me, it was just about being comfortable speaking. And I felt more comfortable speaking in a conversation. And I just went on, like I said, anybody that would have me, I would go on that. If nobody would have had me, I would have just told Troy, just talk to me. And I would have just put my phone, just act like I was in an interview. Nobody would know the difference anyway.
Okay, Rashad, I will.
I love that. Yo, and it ties back to, in my view, your guys' tagline, assets over liabilities. You know, people view real estate as assets and all these tangible things. But in my view, man, content are digital assets. You got, like, I was just on your page and I seen that the Wall Street Trapper video is up to almost a million views.
Yeah,
that's a fucking asset. That is a moment in time that, you know, magic was made, and it has long tail compound benefits, and you never know which piece it is that's going to pop. The other day, my executive producer, a lot of people watching know that I used to host a TV show on Vice. Yo, I didn't know this, but my show is only now just debuting in New Zealand. This show came out 2 years ago. Okay. Wow. And when they launch, they do the same bells and whistles, billboards, this and that, and they drop it, you know, programmatically, like week after week. And we are the top show, and we're the second top show in New Zealand right now. Whole new country. I'm getting spikes of followers from Kiwis out there. And it just goes to show you, it's a lot like investing and compound interest. Some compound views work much the same way. If you create content over time, those same pieces of content mature. Google algorithm picks them up, ranks them, directs traffic your way, and you only develop more and more efficiencies. Now, for those curious about who it is that we have on our team, at Team JH, we're up to a team of 12. At Team GV, they're up to a team of 35 or some crazy shit. I'll let Andy speak to it. But effectively, video. So, and by the way, people can go and produce off a fucking iPhone, like Rashad was saying, but videographer, it could also be you, an annotator, someone to timestamp all the videos. And I have a flow chart to describe how this works. The key is an editor. Once you build up an archive of footage, you're going to be bottlenecked if you leave it to yourself to go through all the footage, edit it, caption it, headline it. So the key hire for us, the first one that I made was an editor. And then we have designers and illustrators. And here's the way it works. You shoot your hub, you upload that shit to a drive, you watch it, and you timestamp. This is how we do it. This is our exact process that we do over and over and over. We'll shoot a hub, we'll upload that shit, we'll say, yo, it's uploaded. Someone will watch. It used to be me. I used to do every single one of these steps. Now I have a team. Someone will watch it and timestamp it and say, okay, yo, bet at this moment from 2:34 to 3:38, Troy said some fire shit about X, timestamped. And then we just go through and we timestamp the entire video, right? Now by the way, it took me 6 years to get to this point in my knowledge. So I hope that someone will take this and really make this their own.
Yeah, this is golden. This is golden, John. This is golden.
So now once that shit is annotated, upload it, the full long form. Don't edit that shit down. Upload the full long form up to YouTube or whatever you want to use to house the long form, and let that live as the macro asset. Then from there, your editor can pull out clips. It used to be me. It probably also is / used to be you guys.
It's still everything you're saying is our process. But I'll let you finish.
This is gold.
I'm gonna let you finish now. So you pull out the micros, right? And when you pull out a micro clip, like, yo, this was a fire moment, this was a fire moment, this is a fire moment. Then you do this next step. You guys happen to have a gift at this next step. And I have developed a secret thesis that I believe a big part of your guys' success has been your guys' ability to actually craft headlines.
Major key.
Yo,
John, this is crazy.
Sleep on the fucking headlines.
Major key.
Can we go through this process to how we do it?
Yeah, I want to let him.
Oh yeah, finish.
Then ultimately, you distribute the pieces, and then the last piece is, to me, almost just as important. You listen. You listen to the audience, what they found was gems, what they thought was trash, and then you just kind of reiterate. So yeah, get into it, fellas.
Wait, yeah, leave the chart up, and then.
All right, bet.
Yeah. So I mean, this is crazy because when you say a team and people always ask like, how do we do it? You want to just break? We can go through this whole.
I'll go through this
whole process.
I know we gotta bring our guest on,
yeah.
But so when we do a podcast, we do the podcast, and we have obviously the audio and the visual. So the audio gets uploaded. Mike in Atlanta, that's our third partner. He does all the technical behind the scenes stuff. So he'll upload the audio.
We got to shoot it. So I'll go from the start. So we shoot it, right? So that's a process too. And again, that's all us, right? We set up the shots. Obviously, everybody knows that we're doing it from the same location. Then we got to upload it. That process takes a while because we're shooting from 3 different cameras. The size of these files are really large, and so we have to upload it. That takes about 3 hours. Then from that point now, Shotty has to get the audio, and Mike gets the visual, and then
yeah. So they send me the audio. And then I listen to the audio and I edit it. I tell them like, all right, take this out. You know,
you do. Okay.
We really don't do too much editing, but I'm really listening to it to get Instagram clips. So I write down, like, as I'm listening to it, I know like, all right, this is something that's going to be a dope clip. So I got just a yellow pad and I'll write down like 1501. He talks about how he leveraged $1 million from the bank to go buy a mansion, something like that. I write down like 10 different like points of like good clips, even reels, stuff like that. And then after I tell them, all right, these are the edit points. I don't tell them the clip points. I just tell them the edit points. And then they do what they do as far as chop it up. Troy puts it on the audio. Mike handles the video. It goes on YouTube. And then from YouTube, I watch it before it comes out. And I'll tell our editor, Rich, who's Mike's brother, I'll tell him like, this is the clip that I want, 1501 to 1601, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? I tell him like, sometimes I got to like cut some parts out, like cut 30 seconds out here. Just give me this clip. He sends it to me. And then the headline is extremely important. There's no, like I said, I didn't go to school for that, but I do all the headlines. So it's just something that I always think of, like, what would make me want to watch a video? So it's like, all right, how to make $1,000 in 10 days with a cookie cutter prep. Like, you know what I'm saying? Something that's just like so outrageous that, damn, like, this is interesting. And then I actually send it to Bam, who's Mike's other brother. I send it to him just to like clean up the English on it, or like if he needs to add a word or something. And then I use an app called Vont. And I go in Vont. Vont's like $5. And I just put the app, I put the text in. And then there's another app called Resizer, which resizes it for IGTV, because IGTV travels more than just regular 60-second videos.
It does.
That's our process.
Hey, listen, that's a $1 billion worth of game.
It is, bro.
To watch this process is amazing. Like, sometimes he'll just listen to this thing out loud. I'm like, yo, can you put your headphones on, man? But he's always got his yellow pad. If you ever seen an episode, you've seen the yellow pad. That's what he's doing with it. It's pretty impressive to watch. That's it. That's the game right there. And that's like a 5-man team of people that's just putting this content out.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop. Bag drop.
Bag drop.